my name is Emma Gray Rose, and I'm a managing editor on West Coast Review.
Yeah, I'm Stephen Paul Martin. I'm one of the editors of West Coast Review and a professor here at San Diego State and the co-director of the MFA program.
I think what makes our journal unique is that, number one, we do take and appreciate experimental works, and we seek those out. We enjoy works that kind of push the boundaries, and I guess we're open to pretty much anything.
Yeah, I would say the idea is to come up with something that's not typical of usual literary journals. We had a journal here for many years called Fiction International, and so we're kind of picking up where they left off, but with a different slant to it. But Fiction International was very much a reflection of their editor, Harold Jaffe. Mm-hmm. We're trying to move in a different direction than that. Emma once said she wanted something you could read at the beach, and I said I wanted something you could read in a grubby laundromat.
Or the haunted house.
The haunted house.
That was cooler.
So we just, somewhere in between there is what we're aiming for. Mm-hmm. Most of the stuff in the first issue, I just contacted various writers I knew from the innovative writing circles, and they all responded really eagerly. Mm-hmm. And then Emma got most of the visual art, because she runs her own magazine. Why don't you talk about
Midsummer? Oh, yeah. Midsummer Dream House. It's a literary and arts magazine. So I publish art, poetry, fiction, creative nonfiction. And I've been running it for about 1.5 years now. I'm very grateful to all the people who have been part of it. So that was where I first began editing. And then this would be the second magazine that I'm editing now. And
here's her Midsummer.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, that was issue 2.
Beautifully produced.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you
Super
see it?
cool. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So
one thing I was when we formed West Coast Review, we got applications for people to be our GA, graduate assistant, and Emma had all the background that we were really looking for. And I knew her from my classes too. I knew she had a really great artistic personality, but also the background. I kept thinking, okay, I need somebody to work with who knows all the ins and outs of magazine publishing, and she really did. She took the journal from start to finish. Once we had the material, she made it happen.
Yeah, so like me personally, I mean, I love poetry and art, because outside of this, I do write poetry. I've been doing that since high school. It was never something that I really took seriously until, later in life. So originally I was going to go to school for a business degree. That seemed like, the most logical thing to do. Yeah. And it actually was a long debate for
We're glad to have you back.
Yeah,
welcome back.
It was a long debate. And finally, after a couple months, I thought, well, my dream is to be a writer. So, I was doing that. And so my background with the writing and, doing artwork and things, I think it just gives me an appreciation for this stuff. I'm really honestly very passionate about it, and I don't really know what else I'd be doing if not this. And so it kind of propelled me to want to showcase this for other people. Because Midsummer Dream House and West Coast Review, I think of as it is a creation that we've put together, but what also drives me is I want to put people's work out there, and I want to give them recognition. And writing can be a very penniless pursuit, and so sometimes the things that keep you going is just getting a publication. And I think a lot of deserving work has been published in both of these magazines. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's such crucial to have somebody with Emma's vision, because when you're a writer, you tend to think there's this big corporate world out there of publishing, 5 major presses controlling the whole thing. And what's great about the literary scene here in the United States is we've got all these alternative presses which give outlets for so many writers. Mm-hmm. And so I think Emma's desire to help those writers and also help us by helping them, because we're sharing their artistic vision is really crucial to break the monopoly of the corporate publishers.
Absolutely.
I always thought, like, those mainstream presses, it's not like they're censoring the rest of the literary world, but they're dominating the mainstream world with a certain type of writing, which is too limited as far as I'm concerned. So I know one reason when we were considering applicants for our MFA program, or one reason I liked Emma's writing right away, because it was really odd and different and really funny also. She's got a great sense of humor in her work. So that's one reason I knew she'd be perfect for West Coast Review. Well, yeah, I think absurdism is the most real way to approach the world at this point. That's no great secret, actually. I think you look at Washington and you think, how much more absurd can we get, right? And so, but there are different angles of absurdity that I think certain kinds of writers and artists can share, and we need that kind of alternative absurdity to inspire us, to make us feel that certain kinds of absurdity are kind of heightened form of intelligence, as opposed to a degraded form of intelligence, as you see in Washington. I mean, I don't hesitate to be really political in my work, and I think in the work I want for West Coast Review, because we should be doing that. Where else are you going to get alternative political viewpoints except in alternative journals? So that's one thing we're aiming for. And also alternative types of writings and different ways of telling stories, for instance. So it's not just the ritual of plot character setting, conflict, climax resolution. You have writing that doesn't accept those basics as starting points. That's one thing I really want for West Coast Review.
Well, every lit mag that comes to existence, I think, is good for writers, because on the note of, you've got a couple of really large publishers, and a lot of these lit mags, they branch off into publishing novels and other works if they do succeed and make it past a certain time frame in being a lit mag. So I'm happy for every lit mag that gets its start. And I would agree that I think one of my favorite types of writing is like the writing that is breaking rules, but the author knows that they're breaking the rules. And so I think that can, it can just add to the landscape, all of the writing that gets published. But I think that there's been a decline in lit mags over the years, and like Professor Martin was saying, independent publishing. And so I'm hoping that, West Coast Review will change that, or, be an addition to the change.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
Well, the big challenge for us is going to be distribution, because some of the major distributors no longer have alternative bookstores to distribute the work to. So honestly, I don't have that figured out. I think Emma might be better at that than I am, because I have a history of running a small press magazine back in New York City called Central Park, which I ran from 1980 to 1996. And the whole process of distributing your journal back then was much easier. There were so many alternative bookstores that wanted literary magazines, whereas now it's a lot more difficult. There was a place in San Diego on 30th Street called the Barras, B-A-R-A-S bookstore. And they had every literary magazine you could possibly want. But they went out of business during COVID because, of course, those kind of independent bookstores are very vulnerable to shifts in the economy. So that was a huge loss. So this is something that's going to be an ongoing concern we have, distribution. But Emma has experience, of course, and so I'm relying on her to a large extent to move us forward in that way.
Yeah, I think the only news I have is that we are hoping to take some interns for West Coast
Exciting.
Review. Yeah, so we're really excited about that, and we're hoping that people can come on and really learn a lot about the publishing world, and maybe go off to create their own lit mags or become an editor, and just kind of share the love of writing and publishing.
She's already got this, really developed a lot of this intern class already. She's got a whole syllabus planned out.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Amazing.
I mean, because with all the work I have to do as a professor here, I really value somebody who has the background she has and can think practically in terms of how an internship class would help our students. So that's probably something you can look forward to. We're going to be ECL 796 internship. We used to have that with Fiction International, but we're going to do a much more serious job with West Coast Review in terms of internships.
Super, super cool. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you.